Hey folks, how you doing? This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce with the Wayne S. Pierce Show on the Views Expressed Live. I'm still fighting this sinus infection. It's getting there. It's sniffles, everything else. But yeah, I'm getting better. So you should hear me back in full form on Monday. So, wanted to tell you, I just wanted to keep you updated. I'm getting better. So, hey, thank you all for your concern. I appreciate that. Lots of things going on today. I just want to keep you updated as to what is happening. Pete Santilli had an expose, basically, about, about something that is very important to members of the alternative media. Regardless of what you think about Alex Jones or any member of the alternative media, including Pete Santilli, myself, Nick Tucker, whoever, it comes to a point where you've got to hold people accountable. And I tell people that all the time. If I'm wrong, let me know. I may have overlooked something, so, no big deal there. But Pete Santilli on his show revealed a few things from behind the scenes at Infowars.com and Alex Jones. And I am all for, I don't care who it is, I'm all for exposing anybody who is purposely lying to bring down anybody. I don't care who it is. Could be your CEO down the street in your big office building you got in your city or whatever. I mean, if there's something on the inside that you've heard about and you've got very good connected sources to it, as Pete Santilli did, and you heard about this stuff and you heard about, what's coming down the line and all that, then don't you think that it would be your responsibility to go make sure that this stuff is, number one, correct, number two, that you can do something about it? Well, in this case, with the alternative media, we come on air and we tell you what's going on, and we hold people accountable, and we put it all out there. I may not agree with everybody. I may not agree with everything that Nick Tucker talks about or Brian Keller or anybody else, but they understand what's going on. And so their take on their perspective on things is what matters. It's like, okay, what is your view of this? Okay, that's kind of cool. All right. I don't have to agree with their assessment on things, because I can see it for myself. It's no big deal, right? I mean, that's how it works. So when you've got an insider, or I should say someone who really thought it was more important to get the word out that somebody was trying to take down Alex Jones from the inside, it kind of makes you perk your ears up like, oh my God, somebody's trying to do what? Yeah, somebody on the inside. I will post that particular part of that show, of the Pete Santilli show, where he reveals who that is. And you can take it with a grain of salt, or you can take it as serious as anything else. But it's something that you have to be aware of. And it's just something that you have to be aware of. That's all. So I will post it within this podcast, and you draw your own conclusions on it. I mean, you make up your own mind. You do what you need to do to figure this stuff out, and you put it together. You draw your own conclusions. So this is Wayne Pierce. I'll be back on Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Views Express Live, right there at freeamericaradio.us and on Spreaker.com. Thank you very much. You want to email me? freeamericaradio@usa.com. Thank you.
Hey, unless I'm absolutely forced to talk about this again, I'm not going to talk about it again unless I'm forced to. If somebody asks questions, if our listenership wants to talk to me about what you're about to hear, then I'll talk about it. I won't avoid it because I've always said, and by the way, I'm coming to you right now, our listenership, with the same exact promise and the same exact principles that I've always made to each and every one of you, is that my loyalty, our loyalty, is to you. It's to you. Absolutely. So I'm going to spend these next couple of minutes telling you what has come about here, and for me not to share this with you would be almost as deceptive as what's going on behind the scenes in alternative media that you're not even aware of. Okay, and Susanna Cole rides shotgun with me, and Susanna, you know you don't even have to say anything through this thing. You know exactly what struggles we've been through this little investigation. It's a very disturbing investigation. Very disturbing, and it's going to be even hard. I don't even want to put commentary to the audio recording that you're about to hear, but I do want to provide you with some commentary about the following: that what is going on in alternative media, as far as alternative media being the truth movement, it is so far from the truth. I mean, I would even have to look and say that the mainstream media, as deceptive as it is, I mean, they don't even come out and say that they're telling the truth, do they? Do they run around saying that they're part of the truth movement?
Well, you know what? I think what you're getting ready to play opens the door and lets people know that behind the scenes in the truth movement, or whatever you want to call it, I don't even call it the truth movement anymore, especially people who are, who have networks, have their own websites, who are out there kind of just trying to get people to pay attention so that they can stay on the air and keep their websites up. I think what you're getting ready to play shows how far to what extent the people in the background who you think are working for you will go to bring you down. And, we've had it happen to us, where we absolutely do not even know that anything as bad as going on is being planned. We'll be talking to someone one moment, one day, and then the next day they release all of this bullshit on us.
Yeah.
And, we've had it happen several times where we've completely and 100% trusted, put our trust in someone.
Yeah.
And they have just basically tried to rip us apart, and we've never been, and that's the bad thing about the internet, is that we've never been privy to the conversations that they were having with other people behind the scenes when they were coming to us and everything was normal and everything was fine. Mm-hmm. And then, within 24 hours, they've released these well thought out videos and these well thought out plans to discredit us and to make us look bad. So this kind of gives, I think, the average person a bird's eye view of what happens when we bring someone close to us, and they are behind the scenes planning our demise.
Working against us, yeah.
Like someone said about us earlier, it's, out in the thread somewhere, that, the thing about this is that, the best way to deal with this is to keep you in the dark and feed you like mushrooms and keep you, and then feed you a bunch of shit. So, those are the kinds of things that we go through. This is the kind of danger that we're in, not from the government, not from the government.
No, we have
from the people who we let closest to us And this is a prime example
Oh, my goodness.
of what can happen.
And that's my point. I mean, we have less to worry about in the mainstream media and the government than we do the so-called truth movement, because they're just outwardly saying that we are telling the truth. They just run around and say it. The mainstream media doesn't even do that. They just say, we are providing you with Kim Kardashian is, and this is the dumbest thing you've ever seen, and everybody wants this. And they don't say that they're in the truth movement. So you're getting exactly what you're paying for, and they're not hiding it. The government is not who we need to worry about. It's the people that are running around backstream in the truth movement. Now, let me transition here to tell you, and I'm gonna speak to all of the rabid, super loyal Alex Jones fans, especially who have heard me be critical of Alex Jones. I'm setting aside every single thing that I've ever said, including all of the criticisms and all the stuff that I do. I'm setting that aside right now. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I'm going to join you in doing something that is very rarely done, and certainly was not done with me. Nobody came to my rescue when I started getting attacked. No one. We basically had everyone in the so-called truth movement remain silent and not say anything. They just said, geez, will Pete Santilli survive this barrage of stuff? And in fact, we did. But it wasn't because we had a whole bunch of people come to our rescue. We had to do it all on our own. And we discovered that there was some fake stuff that was put out there against us. Okay? So I'm going to say that even despite everything I've ever said, anything derogatory, I'm setting that aside. And I'm going to say that Alex Jones right now is what I consider to be a victim of everything that we just spoke of. That he has somebody internally that is trying to destroy him. This is per their own words, and you're about to hear those own words. And you, the listener, need to be concerned that this is what's going on behind the scenes. And it's happening to the man that built this truth industry, and Infowars.com. So who this journalist is, you're about to find out right after this message. It's important, though. You need to know that I would consider, after I heard this, that just about everything that was put out by this particular journalist is now about to be nullified and voided right after this.
This is Cosmic, and you are listening to the Pete Santilli Show. Pete Santilli, telling you the truth, whether you like it or not.
What difference at this point does it make?
Okay, I'm going to start off by mentioning the following, all right? First and foremost, all right? And I'm going to tell you that I'm putting my money where my mouth is when I say that I've set aside everything that I've ever, any criticism or anything like that. Probably most of it all in fun towards Alex Jones. But he has done a lot for building the alternative media. He's done everything. He's actually built it single-handedly, has built an empire. Infowars.com is the central source of information for tens of millions of people. Alex Jones is single-handedly responsible for that. The alternative media would not exist if it weren't for him. That's a fact. I could have all the criticism in the world. I can't take away that fact. That is a fact. So I'm going to set that aside, and guess what I did? I picked up the phone and made the appropriate calls and reached out immediately when I knew that this information it's going to come out. Okay, it ended up in my lap, and I reached out to Alex Jones to make sure that he was given the opportunity to hear what you're about to hear first. Okay. So, things did not work out the way I would have expected it to, and I know that I've been assured that it at least made it to him the message made it to him. But unfortunately, I did not get it. I was going to play what you're about to hear to him first. I didn't want him to hear about this on my show or on the internet. Okay, because there are hours more of what you're about to hear. Okay, I'm in possession of, and I have very thoughtfully, methodically considered whether or not to even bring this on the show. I mean, I just thought that it was just so dirty. But I told Susanna, I told everybody at GMN, our loyalty is to our listenership. And another thing, although we tried to reach out directly to Alex Jones to present this to him, it wasn't going to be presented like, oh, you need to listen to this. And I was just going to just say, you know what, Alex, it's just to inform you, dude, this is what's going on. I mean, nobody has done this for me, and I want to do this for you. I believe that right now you're a victim of this person that has set out, I believe, in his own words, has set out to destroy you, and in my opinion. Now, I also need you to understand that there might be a possibility that, that all this stuff that landed in my lap is all faked. I mean, that's a possibility too. Who knows? I mean, there is a possibility that all this stuff could have been fabricated, just like stuff was fabricated about me. So that's for Alex Jones to decide. That's for the public to decide. Okay, you listen to these words, and I'm not going to say whether or not it's real or it's not real. What I do say is that the voice that you're about to hear is the voice of Anthony Gucciardi. There's no doubt about it. That's the only thing that I can say with absolute certainty. Other than that, in what context it was said and all that other stuff, you know what? That's for Alex and Anthony to decide. But Alex will, when I press play, will hear what's going on behind his back. And I believe that we all need to speak the truth in the truth movement, that there is a man named Anthony Gucciardi who has spoken words behind Alex Jones that he essentially intends to take him down. And would anybody, Susanna, has anybody ever come to us to say, hey, man, you got some infiltrators and they're going to do some bad things to you and you need to know about it? And, despite me looking bad or good, or, I mean, this doesn't make me feel good that I have to do this, but I think that our listenership needs to know that there's an investigative journalist that's pretty high up in the food chain. He sits at the right hand of Alex Jones, and he's a man that has said some words that he needs to be held to account. I mean, he should come forward and say, well, I said that, but it was just an audio book. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which, we've already vetted that. It's not an audio book. The source of information and how this came to us is extremely, everything has been vetted. It's highly likely that those credible sources that have come to us, the chances are highly likely that they have not fabricated it. I would say that that's definitely leaning in that direction. But has anybody ever come to us and said, hey, man, you're about to get screwed. You're about to be victimized by these people. They're out there just fabricating FBI documents. You're not an FBI informant, and I know that they're doing this behind your back in order to destroy you. I wish that if Alex Jones knew, behind the scenes, maybe he did or he didn't, that I would want him to come to me directly. As I did, I went to him directly to play this for him directly. But as a matter of public interest, as a person that reaches tens of millions of people and professes to be an honest investigative journalist, is that person an honest investigative journalist? That's for our listeners to decide after they hear his own words. So is there a direct correlation between the words that they're about to hear, Susanna, and the words that they type and the research that they do? You think there's a direct correlation between the two as far as integrity is concerned?
Well, you know what? I mean, I don't know how much integrity has to do with all of this, but I will tell you this. When they coined the phrase at Infowars.com that there's a war on for your mind, they weren't just kidding. And there really is a war on for your mind, for your thoughts, for your clicks, for your attention, for everything. And it's not just in the mainstream media, it's in alternative media too. And, there are people behind the scenes that try to thwart you and punish you for not being on their team, for not going along with them. And, the punishment is swift and it's quick. And this person, I've listened to these audios, thoroughly listened to them. I know that the source that it comes from is 100% legitimate, and that these things were said. And, I can only imagine that this conversation is the same conversation that was had about us behind the scenes by certain people when they were making plans to come after us and building their case and deciding that they were going to take us out and laughing about it and jumping up and down and celebrating that they were going to do this. And they want to because they can't stand the competition, because and believe me, the competition is stiff. So yes, I would have really loved to been a fly on the wall, or had somebody else be a fly on the wall and handed me some of the stuff that was being said behind the scenes before it was actually put out there on the internet, and public opinion has decided that we're COINTELPRO, that you're an FBI agent and you're the new Hal Turner, and all of these things that were in the works and being planned behind the scenes while they were being sweet, nice, and to our face.
All right, what I'm about to play, also, I'm going to, before I push play, I want to say this. Now, I have to say this indirectly because, unfortunately was either unavailable for comment or opted to, maybe he didn't think I was serious that I have this. Maybe that's why he didn't contact me. But I wanted to give him I wanted to play what you're about to hear to him first and have him deal with it directly. But it wasn't going to stop this information from going public, because this is a matter of public interest, and the sources of this information about Anthony Gucciardi are numerous, plentiful, and very concerning. But this is an uncomfortable thing for me to do. I mean, I would have much rather have told Alex Jones, like, dude, you got some serious issues, man. And I want everyone to understand that we are together going to hear the words of a person who is trying to take down Alex Jones. And Alex Jones, I believe, in my opinion, based on what I know, is at this point a victim of this. Now, set aside everything negative that I've ever said. If you're one of my listeners, set it all aside, and you need to understand that it's important that we get this to Alex Jones. That Infowars.com is being infiltrated by this. Okay, so Alex, I tried to reach out to you, dude, and I wanted to play this to you directly before it became public. If you haven't heard this, I'm sorry that you had to hear it, in the public first. I attempted, but here we go. Everyone listen closely.
To him, the only thing that matters is his fame and his power over the industry or whatever. So if he sees me, he's like, well, at least if Anthony gets big with me, then it's mine. You know what I mean? He's afraid of me, and he needs to absorb me, so I'm not a competition threat.
I'm not going to comment here. If I just need to stop, pause. If you need to re-listen to this, we have it posted. I'm not going to be commenting on what's being said at all. I'll comment at the very end. But just know that the audio is out there. It's been published, and you can go listen to it yourself. Okay?
I mean, he pretty much said it. He basically wants to absorb me as much as possible, while letting me also become big. He's just so afraid that I'm going to get bigger than him, that he's willing to give me anything I want. But he even admitted that though too. He said Infowars is credited and it's like crumbling and all this kind of crap, and that he sees that Story League is the new media. He said, I have a pristine reputation. Everybody likes me. Nobody is trashing me, really. And he wants that. he wants my reputation to help him. And basically help to improve his reputation. He basically told me that he hates every single one of these reporters. And that they suck. And that I bet he wants me to be their boss and teach them how to report stuff.
Okay. Now, how legitimate that is, we've, before I even came to you, I wanted to make absolutely certain to the best of my ability that this was important to bring to our listenership. I'm going to tell you that the voice that you hear, okay, is on ours. Okay. Hours. This is an excerpt, okay? Probably not the most damaging, and I'll tell you what. There's some stuff that I'm just not going to bring to air. Susanna, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to bring anything, but no personal stuff. That's something that needs to be dealt with internally. Between Alex and Gucciardi. But. And that doesn't affect our listenership. So I'm not going to be bringing juice like that. This isn't about Pete Santilli. In fact, by me even getting in the mix and bringing it on the show is definitely much more negative than I could ever receive in a positive light, period. I feel kind of sick to my stomach that this has landed in my lap. And sick to my stomach as to the process that I had to go through. I mean, it was a painstaking process to whether or not to bring this forward. But here's the thing. You, the listener, need to know, and this is why I made my decision. I said to myself, would the listener be upset if they knew that I had access to all this information, it landed in my lap, and I concealed it from them? And that's what happens in alternative media. That's what's going on here, Susanna. The truth movement is less than truthful because everybody's doing their little branding thing. Everyone's trying to build their reputation. Everyone's pretending to be an investigative journalist out front, but they're dirty, rotten bastards in the background. But based on my personal experiences, okay?
Right.
So
yeah, and not only our personal experience, but several of our closest, the people that we've gotten closest to, I mean, they've all been through it too, where they've absolutely 100% trusted someone, let them into their lives, became personal with them, told them things that they wouldn't tell anybody else, and they've turned around and just stabbed them right in the back. Now, what you released is very mild, considering what I've listened to on these recordings. I mean, it gets a lot worse than that, a lot worse. But the point is that there's I don't even know. I mean.
Yeah, it's just really
what it's all about. I don't know why people do this kind of thing. I really don't know why they do it.
Okay, I'm going to give our listenership. Okay, if you listen to that, and say, that wasn't all that well. There's some stuff that was said there that was pretty bad. If you realize the full magnitude, but Anthony Gucciardi saying that he's going to cut off former InfoWars advertisers, destroy the advertising revenue stream. And creating dependence on himself and his products that even I've come out and talked about the products that I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I think this is how this stuff came to my lap, is because I said there's fraud going on here. That's what I said. I said fraud, and I'm gonna scale back, okay? And I'm gonna say that the comments that I made about the products that are being put forward, now that I know what I know and what's been put in my lap. If you tie it together with what Anthony Gucciardi is saying as to pulling the advertisers back and then replacing it with his products, this is in his own words, okay? That's a big concern, and that's something for Alex Jones to be dealing with, and also our listenership needs to know what's happening to the person that built the alternative media. Is Alex Jones a willing participant in this thing? I don't know. That's for, I would say, based on what we've heard, Alex may not know what's going on behind his back.
Well, I think for Anthony Gucciardi to come out and say that basically Alex Jones has told me that he hates all of his reporters and they all suck, and he wants me to go in there and become their boss and show them how to do it is pretty arrogant, and and it is a slap in the face to all the people that have worked hard to build and to help build Infowars.com. A man is not a mountain unto himself. There always takes a group effort to build something as large as Infowars.com. And, for him to come out and say that is, not very pleasing, I would imagine, to the other people who have been diligently faithful and true and to Infowars. It's, it's really kind of a crappy thing to say. And it lets you know how what kind of person Anthony Gucciardi is. And not only that, but that, of course, there are a lot of things, like you said, that were said about Alex Jones's personal life, about his other people there at Infowars, about their personal life, and in this conversation. And there are hours of it. This guy just goes on and runs his mouth. And, it's disturbing because there is a war on for everybody's mind. And I'll say it again, the mainstream media is not the only ones doing it, So, and that includes us. There's a war on for our mind too. And if we don't follow the line and we don't toe the line with what everybody else in alternative media is doing and what they're saying and what they believe in, then you get attacked. It's plain and simple. Yep. That's how it is.
But when I hear the words, the audio from Anthony Gucciardi talking about positioning himself as the next in line at InfoWars Empire while he's gathering dirt on Alex Jones.
And he does, too.
Such as personal stuff, which we're not even going to get into, which is so inappropriate. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about personal stuff because I don't have access to it. But guess what? By somebody mentioning that they're going to use personal stuff against Alex Jones, the person that started the alternative media, do you think our listenership needs to know that? Well, I'll tell you what. Anthony Gucciardi is the author of articles about missing nukes. Okay? And I'll tell you what, I'm going to, me personally, knowing what I know, and now you, the listener, knowing what you know, we need to decide whether or not the articles that are being published and authored by Anthony Gucciardi in the alternative media about missing nukes, whether or not they're truthful, and whether or not his reporting was with high integrity. Because will you ever hear my audio talking about me infiltrating Susanna Cole to bring her down and Guerrilla Media Network and to position myself as the next Grand Poobah in charge of all things and gather all dirt on Susanna Cole and all of her personal stuff and X, Y, and Z and how I'm going to bring her down? And you heard that audio from me. I want you to play that audio back to the general public. They need to know what I'm doing behind the scenes in that regard, especially in the truth movement. So you, the listener, need to decide on your own whether or not, based on what you're hearing directly from Anthony Gucciardi's mouth, whether or not, whether or not that's even his voice. I guess you have to decide that as well, right? We had to get through this process to decide, is that his voice? Is the source of our information that we have in this hours and hours of recordings that exist and are, they're I didn't take them myself. It landed in our lap because of the concerns about what Anthony Gucciardi is doing to our entire industry and to the minds of tens of millions of people. Okay? You have to decide whether or not this journalist is honest and truthful. You have to decide whether or not having him sitting inside next to Alex Jones is important to you. You have to decide that on your own. And I said that I was going to provide limited commentary as to whether or not you should believe any of that audio. It's there. When I say that I have it, that's proof of it. I have it. There's written documentation of stuff that exists out there, and Alex Jones deserves to know about it. He does deserve to know about it. I believe so. Even despite anything I've ever said. Even in a competitive spirit, or, let's set all that aside. I'm low in the freaking totem pole. I didn't build the alternative media, but I'm certainly not going to watch it get destroyed like this. Do you think I'm going to, Susanna? Do you know? You know the exhaustive decision-making process we went through to even mention this, because I'm going to, unless I'm forced to continue to talk about this in 5 minutes and 3 minutes. Okay, I want to get away from it, put it out there, let the listenership decide what's going on. You guys, get it to Alex Jones, I guess, and let Alex Jones deal with it publicly with his listenership, however he deems to be fit. I mean, this is something that needs to get out there, and I would say that it came to me because, why? Because I've been talking critically. So thank goodness I've been talking critically about Alex Jones, because our sources trusted that I wasn't gonna hold it back or cover it up, that I'm not working for him or anything like that. So thank goodness anything I've ever said critical about Alex Jones, thank goodness that got to the ears of the sources of this information, because they trusted that I would handle it appropriately, professionally, very diligently, and not to be harmful to Alex Jones. If anything, to be helpful to Alex Jones's, he's got an empire. When somebody's talking about taking away all of his advertising revenue, I mean, come on. Seriously. Alex needs to know about that. Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you've been listening to excerpts from The Pete Santilli Show over at GuerrillaMediaNetwork.com and GMN.is. You can also catch his show on Spreaker.com, 10 a.m. Pacific. And, isn't that interesting? You have heard it right there. Now, as Pete Santilli says, you got to make up your own mind, You got to, as I like to say, you got to figure it out. Make sure that you got all your ducks in a row. Make sure that, draw your own conclusions on this. That's all you got to do. That's it. Folks, I'm going to go take care of myself. As I said before, I'll talk to you Monday. And Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Views Express Live. If you have any questions, comments, want to send me articles, send them to freeamericaradio@usa.com. The website is freeamericaradio.us.